suffocating, like the walls are closing in, but this is where true strength is forged. Being alone is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It's a chance to look at yourself in the rawest, most honest way and realize that no one else is responsible for your happiness, your growth, or your destiny. The world will not hand you power. You earn it piece by piece in the silence of your own company. Every challenge you face alone sharpens you. Every moment of solitude steals your mind, and every battle fought without support reveals your unshakable resilience. People who never learn to stand alone are always weak, always seeking validation, always dependent, but those who embrace solitude, they become unstoppable, unbreakable, and undeniable. Alone, you discover your true potential, your unspoken capabilities, and the fire within you that no one can extinguish. Embrace it, master it, thrive in it, because strength is never given. It is built in silence, in solitude, and in the courage to face yourself without excuses. Imagine a moment when the world fades away. The phones stop ringing, the messages cease, the chatter of friends and family falls silent, and all that remains is you. It's quiet at first, almost unbearable, and your mind begins to scream at you, "Why are you here alone? You're nothing without someone beside you." That's the exact moment where most people crumble, where most people seek comfort in others. Because facing yourself, your raw truth, is terrifying. But here is where power is born. Solitude reveals your true strength. When no one is watching, when no one is applauding, that's when your character is forged and your spirit begins to rise above mediocrity. The truth is, strength isn't measured by the number of people who support you or cheer for you. Real strength is measured by how you stand when you are completely alone, by how you confront your fears, your doubts, and your own limitations without anyone holding your hand. Being alone forces you to face yourself without masks, without excuses, without distractions. You start noticing the cracks in your mind, the insecurities you've been hiding from the world, the habits you've ignored because it was easier to blend in, to rely on others, to avoid responsibility. Solitude strips you of all illusions. It exposes your weaknesses and confronts you with the unshakable truth. If you want to succeed, if you want to rise, it's entirely on you. And here lies the beauty of it. When you choose to stay, when you decide to endure, you begin to rebuild. Each moment of discomfort becomes a stone in the foundation of your character. Every thought that once brought fear or doubt becomes a tool, sharpened in silence, used to carve the path toward your destiny. Most people run from being alone because loneliness feels like emptiness. But solitude is not emptiness. Solitude is a mirror reflecting your potential, a laboratory where you experiment with your limits, where you learn how strong you really are. You begin to understand that you do not need constant validation, that your value does not come from others, but from yourself. You learn to respect your own time, your own energy, your own ambitions. Every challenge you face alone becomes a testament to your resilience. When you confront hardship without leaning on anyone, when you make decisions without consulting the crowd, when you take responsibility for your own failures and victories, you forge an unbreakable backbone. Solitude teaches patience. It teaches discipline. It teaches the art of mastering your own mind, the one thing no one else can ever control for you. In the silence, you hear your true desires, the dreams you've been too afraid to admit, the goals that scare you, the ambition that pushes you to your limits. And in that silence, you realize something crucial. If you cannot rely on yourself, if you cannot face life alone, you can never conquer anything. People who never learn to endure solitude are always seeking approval, always looking for guidance, always chasing a false sense of security. But when you embrace it, when you stop fearing being alone, a transformation occurs. You become relentless. You become unshakable. You become someone who no circumstance, no criticism, no obstacle can bend. The world is not made for the weak, and solitude is not a punishment. It's a test. Every moment you spend alone is a chance to sculpt yourself into the person you were meant to be. You begin to notice the lies you tell yourself when surrounded by noise. You notice the excuses you hide behind when distracted by others. You notice your true limits, and then slowly, methodically, you learn to push past them. Solitude is a crucible. It burns away the unnecessary, the superficial, the weak, leaving only what is real, raw, and capable. And when you finally step back into the world, you are no longer the same person who once feared being alone. You are stronger, more confident, and entirely self-reliant. The strongest individuals in history, in business, in sports, in life, did not rely on crowds. They thrived in silence. They conquered their inner demons alone. They stared at themselves in the mirror and refused to quit. Solitude gives you that same opportunity. It allows you to see the fire inside you that cannot be extinguished, the power that has been dormant because you have been too dependent on comfort, too distracted by company, too afraid to face the empty room. That room, that silence, that moment where you feel vulnerable, it is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. Every tear shed in loneliness, every sleepless night spent wrestling with doubt, every second spent staring into the void of your own mind is an investment in your future strength. When you embrace solitude, you stop running from yourself. You stop blaming others for your failures. You stop seeking external approval. You begin to build the life you want on your own terms, powered not by others' opinions, but by your own unshakable resolve. You discover a mental toughness that cannot be broken, a confidence that cannot be shaken, and a vision that no one can distract you from. Solitude is not the absence of people. It is the presence of your true self. And that self, when nurtured, when disciplined, when challenged, becomes unstoppable. So do not fear being alone. Do not resent the quiet moments. Do not seek escape from the solitude that feels overwhelming. Lean into it, stand tall in it, fight through the discomfort. Because in the end, every moment you spend alone is a moment you are growing stronger, tougher, and more capable than anyone else who has never learned to face themselves. Solitude reveals your true strength. It strips away pretense, exposes your limits, and then teaches you how to crush them. The world will never hand you power, respect, or greatness. You must earn it. And the first, most essential step is learning to be completely, undeniably, unbreakably alone. Dependence is one of the quietest traps in life. It sneaks in like a shadow, convincing you that leaning on someone else is comfort, that relying on others is normal, that asking for help is a sign of intelligence or connection. But the harsh truth is this: dependence is weakness. Every time you hand over control of your life, your decisions, your happiness, or your success to someone else, you are willingly shrinking your power. You are telling the world that your strength is conditional, that your progress is tied to circumstances you cannot fully control. And the world doesn't care about excuses, it doesn't care about promises, and it doesn't pause for anyone who cannot stand on their own. True power comes from self-reliance. The ability to act decisively, think independently, and carry the weight of your life without flinching, without hesitation, without asking for permission. When you rely on others, you hand them the keys to your destiny. Your moods depend on their approval. Your confidence depends on their attention. Your ambition depends on their support. And the moment they falter, leave, or doubt you, your world begins to crumble. That is the danger of dependence. It is fragile, temporary, and unreliable. Self-reliance, on the other hand, is a fortress. It cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. It cannot be weakened by absence or betrayal. It cannot be stolen or borrowed. Every time you learn to trust yourself, every time you take responsibility for your own choices, every time you act without waiting for someone else to guide you, you build a reservoir of power that no one can touch. Self-reliance begins in the mind. It begins with recognizing that your life is yours alone to shape, and that no one else is obligated to make it easier, safer, or more comfortable for you. The moment you stop blaming the world, stop seeking validation, stop waiting for others to solve your problems, you awaken a force within you that cannot be matched. There is a deep, almost intoxicating confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you are equipped to handle it. No setback, no rejection, no betrayal can shake you, because you are the architect, the soldier, and the guardian of your own fate. Dependence dulls ambition. When you are reliant on others, you begin to rationalize mediocrity. You settle for excuses, compromises, and safety nets. You tell yourself that someone else will handle it, or I need their support first. And in doing so, you allow your life to be dictated by forces outside your control. Self-reliance eliminates that weakness. It forces you to rise, to act, to create your own opportunities. It transforms fear into discipline, doubt into determination, and hesitation into action. The person who is self-reliant does not wait for permission. They do not wait for approval. They move because they know they are capable, and their power is not dependent on anyone else. The road to self-reliance is not easy. It is littered with discomfort, with failure, with loneliness, and with moments where you will wish you could rely on someone else. But these moments are essential. They are the crucible in which your true strength is formed. Each time you solve a problem on your own, each time you navigate life without leaning on others, you build resilience, confidence, and an inner authority that cannot be taken away. You learn that your decisions, your actions, and your mindset are the only things that determine your outcomes. Dependence is fragile because it can be lost at any moment. Self-reliance is unbreakable because it lives inside you. History is full of those who understood this truth. Every great leader, every champion, every innovator, every person who achieved something extraordinary realized early on that their power could not come from others. It had to come from within. They embraced responsibility when others ran from it. They acted decisively when others hesitated. They thrived in solitude when others sought comfort in numbers. And that is the ultimate lesson. Relying on others is easy, but relying on yourself is revolutionary. Separates those who live as followers from those who live as masters of their own fate. Self-reliance is also a mindset. It requires relentless honesty with yourself. You must confront your weaknesses, your fears, and your failures without excuses, without blaming anyone, and without hiding behind someone else's capabilities. Every time you overcome an obstacle alone, your confidence grows exponentially. Every time you make a decision without consultation, your instincts sharpen. Every time you take action without dependence, you reinforce the truth that your power is your own. And that truth is liberating. It frees you from manipulation, from judgment, from disappointment, and from the limitations imposed by others. Dependence is weakness because it chains you to the unpredictability of the world. Self-reliance is power because it anchors you in the certainty of yourself. When you cultivate self-reliance, you become unstoppable. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the driver, the navigator, and the engine. Your focus sharpens, your ambition intensifies, and your ability to achieve becomes limitless. The world may challenge you, circumstances may test you, and people may doubt you, but your power remains intact because it is born from within. So stop waiting for others to lift you, guide you, or validate you. Stop letting your circumstances define your strength. Embrace self-reliance. Make it your way of living, thinking, and acting. Dependence will always be a prison. Self-reliance is freedom. Build your mind, your skills, your body, and your spirit to a point where you can stand unshakable, unbending, and undeniable, because true power does not come from the hands of others. It comes from the unrelenting, unstoppable, uncompromising force that lives inside you, waiting for you to claim it. Dependence is weakness. Self-reliance is power. And when you finally understand this, you will realize that you have everything you need to conquer life on your own terms. Life will test you, not gently, not occasionally, but relentlessly. And most of the time, those tests come when you are alone, when there is no one to shield you, no one to fight for you, no one to soften the blow. That is the moment most people fail. They look for support, they search for comfort, they hope for rescue. But true strength, true power, is not developed in the company of others. Challenges alone forge resilience. Every difficulty you face without assistance is an opportunity to cultivate toughness, to sharpen your mind, and to strengthen your character. When you are forced to confront life's obstacles on your own, you discover capabilities you never knew you possessed, a courage you didn't realize was within you, and a determination that cannot be shaken. Resilience is not born from ease, it is born from struggle. When life hits hard and you have no one to turn to, you are left with a choice: crumble under the weight or rise and push forward despite the pain. Most people take the easy path. They give up, they complain, they wait for someone else to carry them. But the ones who rise alone learn a fundamental truth. The human spirit is far stronger than any circumstance. Every time you face a challenge by yourself, every time you endure rejection, loss, or failure without leaning on others, you reinforce an inner armor that nothing in the world can penetrate. These moments are not cruel. They are transformative. They are the fires in which resilience is forged and the trials in which greatness is born. When you confront challenges alone, you develop clarity. You begin to see the world as it truly is, without illusions or distractions. You realize that waiting for someone to help is a waste of energy. You discover that your own judgment, your own decisions, and your own strength are sufficient. You learn to rely on your instincts, to trust your abilities, and to take responsibility for your outcomes. These lessons are invaluable because they teach you self-reliance, patience, and courage, all essential elements of resilience. The more you face challenges without external support, the more unshakable you become. Your mind grows sharper, your focus becomes unbreakable, and your capacity to endure hardship expands exponentially. Challenges alone also teach perspective. They strip away superficial distractions, revealing what truly matters. When you are forced to navigate obstacles without help, you learn to prioritize, to manage resources, and to adapt to circumstances with precision. You understand that resilience is not simply enduring. It is responding, adjusting, and continuing forward regardless of the difficulty. Each struggle becomes a lesson, each setback a teacher, each moment of solitude a mirror reflecting your own potential. The world will throw unexpected trials at you, and only those who have faced challenges alone will stand firm when everything else is uncertain. Resilience forged alone carries a quiet confidence that no one can take away. It is the knowledge that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you have the power to rise again. It is the understanding that adversity does not define you, it shapes you. Each challenge overcome without assistance becomes a brick in the foundation of your character, a testament to your ability to endure, and a declaration that nothing external can control your spirit. People who have never faced hardship alone often crumble under pressure because they have never tested their true limits. Those who have confronted obstacles in solitude understand that discomfort is temporary, but strength is permanent. Facing challenges alone also builds mental toughness. Life will not always be fair. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will betray you. But when you have endured adversity by yourself, you develop the capacity to remain calm, composed, and strategic, even in chaos. You stop fearing failure because you have survived it repeatedly. You stop doubting yourself because you have proven your ability to overcome, and you stop seeking validation because you have relied solely on your own resilience to get through every test. This is the mindset of someone who will succeed against all odds. The mindset of someone who understands that the most important victories are the ones you achieve within yourself. Furthermore, challenges faced alone teach patience and perseverance. Success is rarely instant. Growth is rarely comfortable. And resilience requires time, effort, and unwavering commitment. When you navigate obstacles without hand-holding, without shortcuts, without external support, you internalize the principle that true achievement is earned, not given. You learn to pace yourself, to endure setbacks without despair, and to keep moving forward even when progress seems impossible. This endurance, this relentless determination is the core of resilience. It transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary ones, capable of confronting any storm and emerging stronger than before. Ultimately, the struggles you face alone are not punishments. They are gifts. They are opportunities to discover who you truly are, what you are capable of, and how much power lies within you. Challenges alone forge resilience because they strip away reliance on others, reveal your inner strength, and teach you to stand unshakable in the face of adversity. When you embrace this truth, you stop fearing hardship, you stop avoiding pain, you stop depending on anyone else to navigate life's storms. Instead, you confront every difficulty head on, knowing that each battle strengthens you, each obstacle prepares you, and each solitary struggle shapes you into someone unbreakable. Resilience is the reward of facing life's trials alone. It is the unspoken strength that separates the weak from the unstoppable, the ordinary from the extraordinary, the dependent from the self-reliant. And the moment you accept that the greatest challenges are meant to be faced alone, you unlock a power within yourself that no one can ever take away. Challenges alone forge resilience, and resilience alone builds greatness. You will endure, you will rise, and you will conquer. Not because others help you, but because you learn to face everything life throws at you with courage, determination, and unshakable strength. Happiness is not a gift someone can give you. Growth is not something someone else can create for you. Both are born within, nurtured in silence, and cultivated through conscious effort. Most people spend their lives chasing validation, affection, and approval, believing that if they can just earn someone else's love, respect, or attention, their life will finally feel complete. They tie their moods, confidence, and purpose to the whims of others, forgetting that no one is obligated to make them feel whole. And when those external sources fade, fail, or turn away, despair sets in, leaving them powerless and dependent. True happiness and genuine growth, however, are never granted by others. They are cultivated inside you, in the choices you make, in the mindset you adopt, and in the courage to face life on your own terms. Happiness that depends on someone else is fragile. It disappears when relationships falter, when praise ceases, when circumstances shift. It is conditional, temporary, and unreliable. Real happiness, the kind that cannot be shaken, is self-generated. It comes from recognizing your own worth, appreciating your own journey, and celebrating your own victories, no matter how small. It emerges when you take responsibility for your life, when you stop blaming others for your dissatisfaction, and when you understand that your joy is not tied to approval or recognition. This is empowerment, to look in the mirror and realize that you are the source of your own fulfillment. Growth follows the same principle. Relying on others to teach you, guide you, or push you limits only delays your evolution. True growth happens when you challenge yourself, when you step into discomfort, when you refuse to wait for permission. It comes from learning to handle failure without excuses, to embrace discomfort without complaint, and to push boundaries without hesitation. When you seek growth externally, you are dependent on the timing, priorities, and limitations of others. When you seek growth within, you become unstoppable. You develop resilience, skill, and wisdom that cannot be borrowed, manipulated, or taken away. Every decision you make, every lesson you internalize, and every effort you invest contributes directly to your transformation. The journey inward is not easy. It requires introspection, honesty, and courage. It demands that you confront your flaws, insecurities, and fears without distraction or denial. Most people avoid this path because it is uncomfortable to face oneself. They find it easier to compare, compete, or measure happiness against the lives of others. But lasting joy and profound growth never come from imitation or comparison. They come from understanding who you are, what you truly value, and how much potential lies dormant within you. The moment you embrace this truth, you realize that every external source of happiness is a bonus, not a requirement. Your contentment becomes self-sustaining, and your growth becomes self-directed. Happiness from within also builds independence and resilience. When you generate your own joy, the world's chaos cannot touch you. Compliments, criticisms, praise, or rejection no longer dictate your mood or your sense of self. You stand firm because you know that your value is inherent and your happiness is self-made. Similarly, personal growth from within creates an unshakable confidence. You are no longer reliant on teachers, mentors, or peers to validate your progress. You set your own standards, measure your own improvements, and celebrate your own milestones. This independence is liberating. It frees you from the cycle of seeking approval and allows you to focus entirely on becoming the person you are capable of being. When you nurture happiness and growth internally, you also experience clarity in life. You understand that others cannot complete you, that no one else holds the key to your satisfaction, and that your purpose is shaped by your own choices. Relationships, friendships, and external opportunities enhance life, but they do not define it. When you learn to thrive without reliance, you attract connections that are genuine, not transactional. You engage with the world from a position of strength, not neediness. Your interactions become about shared experiences, mutual respect, and authentic connection rather than dependency, validation, or manipulation. Moreover, internal happiness and growth prepare you to face life's inevitable challenges with courage. When adversity strikes, you are not at the mercy of others' support, approval, or encouragement. You have cultivated the strength to endure, adapt, and rise. Drawing on your own resilience and wisdom. You understand that discomfort and failure are not threats to your contentment. They are catalysts for growth, opportunities to reinforce the foundations you have built within yourself. This mindset transforms fear into determination, obstacles into lessons, and setbacks into stepping stones. Ultimately, the truth is simple. Life cannot give you lasting happiness, and no one can accelerate your growth. Both must be cultivated from within. Every thought, every decision, and every action contributes to your inner landscape. Choose self-awareness over comparison. Choose courage over reliance. Choose to invest in your own development rather than waiting for someone else to offer it. The more you nurture your inner world, the more resilient, confident, and fulfilled you become. External circumstances and other people may come and go, but the happiness and growth that originate within you are permanent, unshakable, and transformative. When you finally internalize this truth, life changes. You no longer chase fleeting pleasures or validation. You no longer fear solitude or discomfort. You no longer wait for others to grant you permission to evolve or to be happy. You become the architect of your own fulfillment, the creator of your own destiny, and the guardian of your own growth. Happiness and growth come from within, not others. And when you embrace this fully, you unlock a power that no one can take, a joy that no one can steal, and a potential that no one can limit. You realize that your life, your success, and your fulfillment are in your hands alone. And that realization is freedom, strength, and unstoppable power all at once. True power is not loud. It is not found in boasting, in crowds, or in the applause of others. It is quiet, deliberate, and cultivated in moments when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, and when the world seems to have forgotten you. Most people confuse noise for strength. They believe that the more attention they receive, the more influence they possess, and the more company they keep, the more powerful they are. But power that depends on others is fragile. It disappears the moment the noise fades. True power, the kind that can move mountains and withstand storms, is built in silence, away from the distractions of constant approval, social validation, and empty conversation. It is forged in solitude, honed in reflection, and proven through action rather than words. In silence, you confront yourself. You see your weaknesses without the masks you wear for others. You recognize your fears, your doubts, and the areas where you have yet to grow. Most people avoid silence because it is uncomfortable to face themselves. They fill every moment with chatter, distraction, and social validation to hide the truth. But those who embrace silence understand that the greatest battles are internal. They are fought in quiet determination, in deliberate practice, in uninterrupted focus. True power is cultivated when you do not rely on external energy to fuel your actions. It grows when your strength comes from within, shaped by self-discipline, patience, and clarity of purpose. Silence allows you to think clearly. In the noise of company, opinions clash, distractions abound, and decisions are diluted by the influence of others. When you isolate yourself from the chaos, you gain perspective. You can analyze situations, plan your moves, and strategize without interference. True power is strategic, not impulsive. It is the result of careful preparation, unshakable focus, and relentless execution. Every moment spent in solitude strengthens your mind, sharpens your instincts, and refines your judgment. You learn to trust yourself because you have no choice but to, and that trust, once earned, becomes unbreakable. Action in silence carries more weight than words and noise. Anyone can talk, boast, or seek attention. Few have the courage to act consistently when no one is watching. True power is proven through consistent effort, relentless practice, and decisive action taken without expectation of recognition. Those who seek constant validation never realize the depth of their potential because their energy is spent on impressing others rather than improving themselves. In contrast, those who work in silence accumulate skill, resilience, and influence that is undeniable. Their power is quiet but absolute. Their presence felt without announcement, their impact profound without applause. Silence also cultivates independence. When you are surrounded by noise, you rely on others to validate your worth, to guide your choices, and to determine your direction. This dependence weakens you. True power requires self-sufficiency. It demands that you become the architect of your own life, the driver of your own destiny, and the guardian of your own principles. In solitude, you learn to rely on your own judgment, to solve your own problems, and to create your own opportunities. This independence is not born from isolation alone, but from the understanding that the loudest voices are not always the wisest, and that your greatest achievements come when you act with confidence in your own ability. Patience is another gift of silence. Power built in haste or in the glare of others is often superficial. It is temporary, conditional, and shallow. True power requires time, consistent effort, and an unwavering commitment to improvement. In silence, you learn to wait, to endure, and to persist when the results are not immediate. You learn that mastery cannot be rushed, that influence cannot be demanded, and that respect is earned, not shouted into existence. Every quiet hour spent honing your craft, reflecting on your choices, and building your inner strength is an investment in a power that will endure for a lifetime. Silence also builds resilience. Life will inevitably challenge you, betray you, and test you in ways that are uncomfortable and painful. Those who depend on company for strength crumble when support disappears. Those who build their power in silence stand firm because their foundation is internal, unshakable, and self-sustained. They have faced their fears alone, confronted their weaknesses without distraction, and endured hardship without relying on external comfort. True power cannot be given. It must be claimed through experience, struggle, and personal triumph, often in isolation. Finally, the world eventually recognizes true power, not through noise, but through impact. Those who work quietly, who act decisively, and who cultivate strength without distraction inevitably draw attention because their results cannot be ignored. Influence does not require shouting. Leadership does not require crowds. Mastery does not require applause. True power speaks for itself. And those who have learned to build it in silence carry with them a confidence, focus, and presence that cannot be replicated by those who seek validation in noise. Every moment of silence, every hour of focused effort, and every challenge faced alone is an opportunity to strengthen your power. The world will always be loud, distracting, and demanding. People will always seek recognition, approval, and attention. But those who understand the value of silence know a secret the majority never learn. Noise creates illusion, but solitude creates reality. Chaos breeds weakness, but calm cultivates strength. Conversation may impress, but action in silence transforms. True power is built in silence, not in the noise of company. And the day you embrace this truth, you will understand that your greatest achievements, your deepest strength, and your lasting influence are all born from the quiet, deliberate, and unstoppable force within yourself. In the end, the truth is simple but profound. The world will not hand you happiness, strength, or success on a silver platter. Every achievement worth having, every victory that shapes your life comes from within. It comes from the courage to stand alone, to face discomfort, to embrace silence, and to rely on no one but yourself. External approval is fleeting, distractions are endless, and people will always come and go, but the power you cultivate internally is permanent. True growth, true happiness, and true resilience are not borrowed from others. They are forged in your choices, your discipline, and your unwavering commitment to become the best version of yourself. When you finally understand that your life, your strength, and your fulfillment depend on no one else, you unlock a freedom few ever experience. You learn that solitude is not loneliness, that silence is not emptiness, and that being alone is not weakness. It is here, in this quiet mastery of self, that your greatest potential awakens. Stand firm, act with purpose, and remember, the life you desire, the happiness you seek, and the power you deserve already exists within you. You only need the courage to claim them.